it's essential that before we make any decisions about today's shoots, we get a coffee. But first, I think we should go into this bar here, love.
Free beer, topless bartenders and false advertising. Oh, I get it. So then we went next door for a coffee, where I ordered a latte that looked like a Guinness. It was strong, but, I was needing something with a bit more refinement just to get me over this terrible hangover. So we walked to the other side of town to a lesser-known cafe called Perk, where I got a proper latte and an almond slice. And if you wondered if it was any good, it was bloody tremendous.
That's the business.
Now that we'd reached semi-competence, it was time to visit our first landscape photography location of the day.
So today we've decided to take it pretty easy with just a mile and a half. Well, it's one way, mile and a half walk one way, and then return at Wormsloe Historic Park. And what makes this place really gorgeous, obviously, is this classic, very famous tree tunnel. Have a look at this business. It would be so nice to fly a drone through that though, wouldn't it? How are you feeling, love?
Ask me again tomorrow.
We're still quite hungover. Bad decisions were made last night.
But it was good.
I regret nothing. All right, so for the first half hour of walking down this road, there's been no traffic. And now that I've found a shot, there's loads of traffic. But I don't have to wait long. And what I'm trying to do, well, the reason why I've set up here about halfway down the road is because I've found a really nice twisty branch and the sun is just hitting it from above, backlit. It's actually quite nice. So I actually don't mind this super hot light. I would prefer it overcast, but this actually looks quite good. I'll wait for this tractor or whatever it is to get past, and then I'll explain my shot. Any minute now. Yeah. The thing that I'm really taken with is this branch that comes down here and then kind of curls round, which is currently backlit. And then everything is backlit really, but I just love the shape of that. So I've got Amanda down here at the bottom. I've focused on her, and right now it's obviously overexposed. And I'm just gonna get the correct exposure. I think I'll dial in f16 because I want tons of depth of field. And what I'm gonna do is put my 10-second timer on, and that should be the shot. And if this shot turns out to be half decent, here's a shot.
In the end, I decided to go for that shallow depth of field by shooting with a wide open aperture of f5.6. Now at Wormsloe, you're not allowed to fly a drone. So how did I get this footage? Well, we just got lazy and decided instead of walking back, we'd just jump in the wagon and hitch a ride, where Amanda made inappropriate suggestions, which of course I did not approve of. Now, one thing you don't know about me is that I absolutely love cemeteries, and there is no cemetery more pretty than Bonaventure Cemetery in Savannah. The only problem was we were a bit too early and the azaleas were not in full bloom. So after an hour and a half of driving around the whole cemetery, we decided to drive north to Charleston for some top-notch nosh. Whatever you do, don't fill up on the delicious chimichurri and cheese bread. And of course, don't guzzle a full bottle of wine. And you know I'm too much of a pleb to even know what this is. You know I'm gonna eat that. Amanda gobbled meat like a barbarian, and because it was her birthday, we got her a massive creme brulee. Or should I say, we got us a creme brulee. I'm celebrating too. The next day, we visited another bucket list location, but I was not prepared for the crushing disappointment.
So today is a bit of a bucket list location for me, because finally, after years of wanting to come here, I've arrived at the old Angel Oak in Charleston. There's oak trees all over England, but they never call them live oaks, they're just oak trees. So there's something about this that's different that makes it a live oak. Do you know what that is?
It's because it's alive.
It's not because it's not dead?
No, not yet.
That's the explanation, is it?
And you can tell it's an oak tree because the sign says it's an oak tree.
Well, I'm glad I invited you along, Jason. It's good to see you.
Always here for all of the expert tips.
Yeah, I'll know to ask next.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite challenging to find a composition that doesn't have 200 people in it or a portaloo in the background. And the reason why we came this morning is because the weather forecast called for fog, but unfortunately it doesn't open till 9, and by then the fog had burned off. But the light's still quite nice. It's kind of soft, so I might. Oh, I just said that and it popped hard. So it's coming and going though, because there's a few clouds. So I've just got to work the scene, find my comps, and then once I've found them, wait for people to walk out of the shot, and then might get the shot. No tripods allowed, so I won't be doing any posh focus stacking shots, but I'm sure I could find a composition in all of this. You found any good comps yet?
Not yet.
Can I have a look?
You're not touching my camera again. I know what happened last time.
Just get the whole...
This is probably a really good time to remind you about the waiver that you signed, Jason.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it fascinating how nature pretty much absorbs everything? Jason got deep down in the chiggers. I don't even know what chiggers are, but I know that I don't want any anywhere near my crotch.
So, for obvious reasons, they've fenced off the root system of the tree because they don't want it getting trampled and destroyed. I totally get that. But unfortunately, it's made it almost impossible to get a good picture. At the very least, you know you're gonna have to spend some time in Photoshop removing all of the ugliness to get a nice clean shot. But the light right now is really, really tricky. I'm getting the feeling that what I really need to do is try and find some compositions from the other side of this fence, like shoot through the fence while the park is closed and there's nobody walking around the tree, and of course you're after hours, so the light will be a lot softer. I'm thinking maybe that's what I'm going to have to do, because I just don't think I'm going to get a decent shot with this light and just how busy it is. I also feel like the best compositions are from way over there, where you can see Amanda's just sat on this bench, where you're away from the tree looking towards it. But right now the light doesn't work for that. Might do when it's backlit though, by mid-afternoon. But this place closes at 5. So it's tricky, it's kind of a puzzle, this place. It's not easy to shoot, given all the challenges. But I'll keep working to see if I can find something. I think if we get a nice big cloud, and that harsh light that you can see just disappears, then I think I can get a shot from over here.
So this is my first image, and at first glance you might think it's alright, but I had to do a lot of removals. Started with the people and then the fencing, but by the time I got to the second sign telling you all the things that you weren't allowed to do, I'd just lost the will to live, and I was kind of overcome by a feeling of sadness and disappointment that this is what it's come to. If you want to enjoy a majestic tree like this, you've just got to prepare for a lot of frustration.
So yeah, a bit of a bucket list location, tempered with disappointment. You know, it looks fantastic. It's quite possibly the most spectacular tree I've ever seen. It is amazing, is that tree. It's the best I've ever seen.
It's the best tree I've ever seen.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's just you can't get a shot of it. You need all of the stars to align. So first of all, good light. Second of all, no people. Third of all, no barriers and signs. You're going to get that. You can Photoshop that out. You can Photoshop the people out, I guess, but it does make it tricky when they're kind of moving around. And then fog, you know, you can't get in here early enough to capture the fog. So I suspect we might have to come back at, I don't know, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning one day when there's fog forecast and just shoot through the fence. Like, just pick a little section in the fence that you can just see through and just shoot with that and not actually come into the park area. Chances are we've got a few days here in Charleston, so I think we're probably going to keep coming back until we get the shot. And that's what you got to do, isn't it? You don't get the shot on your very first visit.
Why?
Because it's sod's law.
One of nature's wonders reduced to a zoo exhibit. But what else can they do? I'd rather put up with all of this than a dead tree.
All right, so we're back at the Angel Oak. There's nobody else here but us. So we've got the entire place all to ourselves. And it's actually quite lovely. Have a look at this.
Well, I mean, lovely aside from the giant cage.
So with the fence, it kind of limits our compositions. There's really only one angle to shoot from, I believe. Because if we move over there a bit, well, we'll have a look, but I think that you're going to have all of these branches, these octopus branches kind of blocking your view. But let's have a look. But it's still better than harsh light and 60 people. So I'll take what I can get. The reason why we came back here tonight is because the forecast said at 7 p.m. it was going to get foggy. I think that's a lie. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a major lie. There's not going to be any fog.
Do you think that this, like before they turned this into a park, do you think this was just some random tree? It was just some random tree that turned into an absolute monster?
One that lasted. Not the only one that lasted.
Somehow lasted.
Yeah.
I'm glad they protected it. I mean, it makes this job a nightmare trying to get a decent shot, but it would be such a tragedy if this thing got destroyed. And there's the sign over there says, during thunderstorms, get out the park. And you can see why, like if those branches fell, you'd be squished. And that's something that I always say whenever there's a storm back home, if I'm in a forest, I get out the forest because all it takes is one widowmaker to land on you. It's quite nice from here, actually. Now, can my lens zoom through that mesh? We shall see. All right, I can honestly say that this is a first for me. I've never done a shoot through a fence, through a cage. This is the first time I've ever done such a thing. And I've just checked playback on my image, and there's some really nice looking fence mesh going through my shot. So I might have to do this handheld because I could just kind of center the lens through this and kind of zoom beyond it so that you don't see the mesh. But I'll show you the composition on the back of the camera anyway, and you get an idea for what I'm trying to go for here. But I'll tell you what, before I do that, I'll just try shooting one frame wide open at f2.8 and see if it blurs out the mesh to the point where you can't see it. Let me just see. It's probably not going to work, but we'll see. It almost works. It's almost, if I tell you what, I'll show you this test shot. And on the left side, you can see a bit of it, but on the right side, it's almost manageable. So I'll try and jiggle this tripod a little bit, but he got me all worried, giving me some bullshit about motion detectors, you know, like Mission Impossible style. So, but I think that's, yeah, Mission Possible. Okay, I'm gonna jiggle this around and try again.
But in spite of all my efforts, I just could not make it work shooting through this fence.
All right, mate. Well, I'm getting frustrated. I'm just going to go back to the car. I can't get a shot without any mesh in it, so I'm just going to quit.
I think it's pointless.
Yeah.
I'm going to pack my stuff up. I'll be there in a minute.
Why are you standing so weird?
No reason.
You're standing in a weird position.
Yeah. My legs are tired. It's been a long day.
Doesn't look like it. It looks to me like maybe you found a hole in the fence there.
No, there's no hole.
What's that behind your shoulder?
There's no
hole. Your hand just fit through. There we go. A hole in the fence that we didn't make, incidentally.
We did not make, but you know what this means.
What?
We're both going to have the same shot.
Well, look, I tell you what, right? I'll shoot without a lens cap, and you can leave your lens cap on. How about that?
All right, let me go get my lens cap.
Shenanigans. It's been a while.
So, I would show you the composition, but what's the point? Because the composition is whatever I'm allowed by this hole. That's the composition. It's dictated by the cavity in the mesh. So, if this shot turns out to be a 1 out of 10, here's a shot.
It really is the most beautiful tree I've ever seen. And even though it's difficult to get a decent shot, I still would highly recommend you go and visit, even if you don't take a single picture.
Just think, Jason, that's the hole that we're now left with, right? You can have that comp. But can you imagine how good it would have been if we'd have been able to have this one here? The difference in composition, you know, but this sign has now been permanently fixed. You can't get that shot.
I mean, if you want to cut the camera, we can cut the zip ties.
Well, no, and I think we don't want to get into trouble. I believe that these are, I think they're motion detectors or like maybe wildlife cameras or something to make sure there's no intruders or fence botherers.
And that's when I realised the best shot of the day, the shot that actually tells the story of what it's like to visit the Angel Oak, is this one.
Well, I don't know about you, mate, but I'm not feeling overly inspired, and I'm wondering if perhaps it's beer o'clock.
I didn't hear much, but I heard beer.
Beer o'clock it is, and maybe some nice food.
So many delicious beverages. And of course, the food on this road trip was absolutely fantastic. I got the vegetable moussaka, top notch. Amanda got some kind of beef bone meat configuration. And Jason got the biggest bloody pork chop anyone's ever seen. I just want to say a huge thank you to all of these Patreon supporters shown here. You really do make it possible for this channel to continue. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.